we are here with Andrew Pursell, the Director of Education for Prospect Grove High School. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time and just doing this interview in regards of restorative practices and the training that your school just had.
Mhm.
So the first question would be, what is your perception or what did you think about the training?
Yeah, overall perception is very positive, Jeremiah. I thought it was very hands-on. It was interactive. The content was great. The delivering of it was great. Overall, one of the best in-person day-long trainings I've been a part of.
What impact did the training have on you?
Yeah, so I'm going to speak for myself and for my team. I think it had a very positive impact, and I think it also motivated us. Sometimes when we're kind of all in it together, you lose motivation, but kind of taking a step back, refocusing on what's important, refocusing on how to best meet the needs of our students can be very rejuvenating. And the fact that it was done through a training that was so applicable to the students we serve and so in line with the mission we have at Prospect Grove High School. The overall takeaway from it, from not only myself but from the other participants, was a very positive takeaway, and it was very motivating for us.
Where do you see some of the strategies working in your school?
Yeah, so right away, we're only a week out, so it's really just been the initial rollout process. But right away, making sure we have a commitment to reframing how we communicate with students who are experiencing behavioral difficulties using those restorative questions. Even if we don't have the full circles in place yet, because it's only a week out of training, what we are doing is having conversations focused around restorative questions, focused around having students build empathy in regards to the misbehaviors they may or may not show. I think another impact is, getting a little bit more of a system in place to help support these restorative practices. We're already brainstorming and hoping to implement school-wide norms next week. Teachers are already instilling classroom norms in their classrooms per the discussion and the training.
What would you say to anybody that is thinking about the training or doesn't even know about the training?
Yeah, so there's so much focus on today's education, and rightfully so, on things like social emotional learning, trauma-informed care. All those things tend to be very abstract, right? What this training did was make those strategies very concrete, give everyone a common language and a common mission, and give really strategies that we can look to instill these trauma-informed practices or restorative practices. A lot of times, trainings that are in the similar vein aren't nearly as practical as the one that you had given us.
What would you say to somebody who is on a borderline of this training or kind of is in that state of where, they don't know and they may be a little skeptical because of past experience?
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that this is more than just for education? Do you think this is also applicable to the community, to children and youth, to probation, and just to all the communities that are responsible that our students are a part of?
Yeah, yeah. I've been in alternate education for the past 10 years in various capacities, and so I've seen best practices. I've seen worst practices. I've seen people be punitive. I've seen people be restorative, and the 10 years of experience, I could speak from that experience and say these restorative practices and trauma-informed care, it works. I mean, you can see the change in student behavior. They're not doing it superficially. It's helping them build empathy, and it absolutely can be used outside of school. We already, some of the stuff we talked about into the circles, we do on the clinical side of our program, and it's effective. And so it is a great practice to create lasting positive change in young people who struggle in that regard. And so, yeah, it definitely has a place not just in classrooms or in schools. It has places, I think, all over human services. And it's not just youth too that can be helped. I think these restorative practices are good for adults who struggle with the same sort of issues.
Last question for you will be then, what is the number one thing you took away from the training?
Yeah, the number one thing I took away is that a lot of the stuff that was talked about, we either do or attempt to do in a way, but what the training provides is just this concrete, all-in, team-oriented focus of how to approach this. And so the biggest takeaway is, moving away from each of our individual pockets where we're doing some of these strategies and uniting as a team and being on the same page and using common language and working with each other to provide, the best environment for our students.
Well, Andrew, thank you for your time. Are there any parting words you want to say?
No, listen, if anybody's watching this video and is on the fence about calling out Jeremiah, I'm going to ask you to do so. It'll be worth it. It's going to benefit whatever program you're in. I promise you, it'll be impactful and well worth it.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jeremiah. You as well.